Hi everyone, this is Shelley Darling and we're welcoming you to our Loving Waters New Moon call, New Moon Water Stewards call. And we're excited for tonight because it's something a little unusual. And we've invited Carol Gador here. Carol right now is near me in Sarasota. And I'll be sharing a little bit more about her once we open up with a water resonance. Welcome, Kathleen. Good to see you. Yeah, so a little bit about Loving Waters. And just take a breath. A little bit about Loving Waters before we open. So those who are joining us who are new, Loving Waters is a water community made up of water stewards, water guardians, and water protectors. People, real advocates of the water, but with a focus around watersheds and how we can become more involved and open that relationship, that sacred relationship with the earth, with her water, as a interconnected being, right? So taking a breath at that. And we offer this new moon call to come, and it's really meeting other water stewards from around the world and listening to their water wisdom and what their love is, and how together we can really raise the vibration and bring this love in a more conscious way to others, to our communities, locally and globally. So welcome tonight. And we also have, on the full moon, we gather in our own local areas for full moon water blessings. So I'm excited to be here. I'm one of the Loving Water Steward Council members, and we have a few others with us tonight. Excited. And so tonight we're going to begin with a resonance, taking us deeper into the water, inner waters of our being. So Charlie Riverman, who's a Loving Waters Council member, is going to open our call. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Loving Waters Live. And it's a privilege and an honor to be here and bring you into the larger body of water, which we are as water beings. So what I'd like everybody to do is to just take a deep inhale. Feel the water in that breath, that moisture that's coming through and into your lungs. And when you exhale, feel the moisture as it leaves your body. Let's begin by realizing that we are all water, that this physical body that we dwell in is comprised primarily of water, that our consciousness and our memory is held in the water in our bodies, as it is in the world around us. Each one of you are these beautiful beings, these beautiful water beings, whose ancestors came through the waters of the womb. Each one of us came through water to be here right now, gathering in honor and loving presence to reconnect to the waters, not only of Mother Earth, but the waters within ourselves. Feel that breath, feel that wave, the wave of your chest rising, your belly rising, your belly relaxing, and your lungs relaxing. In yoga, they call it the Vijaya breath, the ocean breath, where you breathe in and create the sound of the ocean. This is who we are. Each of us, one drop, representing the whole. Each drop connecting and uniting into the ocean the ocean of life. Carry this feeling of connection with the water wherever you go. Honor it in every way you possibly can. And as Dr. Emoto, simple blessing is so profound. It's in its simplest form. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. And when we say that and express that from our hearts, we change the crystalline structure of not only the water around us, but the water within us. So I'd like you to just carry that thought, hold it in your memory, and know that it's sometimes the simplest actions that we engage with water that are the most profound. I honor all of the creatures of water, all of the animals of water. I honor our ancestors of water and welcome you tonight as we listen to the water within our own hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you so much. So with that, I want to introduce our guest tonight. We're so blessed, and it's very, very unique because tonight we have Carol Gader, who is a water dowser. And we've never done anything like this on our New Moon call. So it's really quite an opportunity to expand our understanding. And Carol has been very dedicated to the American Society of Dowsers. She is a master dowser and water dowser and well-being dowser. She'll share that more with us, and has been doing it for over 20 years or more. And so she's also just a water lover. Here in Sarasota, there is this opportunity to really honor the oceans and all the patients and animals. And so we just welcome you, Carol. Oh, excuse me. I was trying to finish before that sneeze came. Yeah, and she lives in New Hampshire part-time, so just very aware of the rivers and streams. And so tonight we're really honoring all waters. And we'll have an opportunity to maybe look at water in a slightly different way. Because as dowsers, and I think it's really fantastic that there's at least 4 of us on that are dowsers tonight, and each having specific focal points. And so we welcome you, Carol, to really come here and enlighten us, share your love. Please, we invite everyone to share your watershed. And after Carol speaks, we'll open it up for everyone to share on this call and to allow those waters to inform us so that we can take it back out and inform and influence everyone that we're connected to and the waters we're connected to. So this ought to be a fantastic call tonight. So Carol, we welcome you, and just come in and share your love of water.
I do love water. From the time I was born, I've loved water. I love the ocean, especially the clear lakes of New Hampshire. And I think because I love water so much and like being in it, on it, around it, but not underneath it too much. I have scuba dive, but I have no desire to go down with a tank. And I think it's because of my love of water that I'm a really good water dowser and guarantee all my work. And the only reason I guaranteed it, because I thought I was scared to death when I started. And I thought, well, if they don't get it, I want to give them their money back. And I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wells. Only one person asked for their money back, so that's pretty good. I grew up in New Hampshire, and I grew up around Sunapee Lake, which is a deep, gorgeous, clear, clean lake at the foot of Mount Sunapee in the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region. And I moved to Florida a couple of years ago. I've been coming down off and on for about 20 years now. And I live just north of the big Manatee River. And I am surrounded by water on 3 sides. People say, aren't you afraid to live with water everywhere? No, I'm not. I love water, so why not? And I started out dowsing gardens, dowsing health. And the first time I went to the National Dowsers Convention, which I hope you are all going, it blew me away. It just absolutely blew me away. And I was on a high for 6 whole months. And then, of course, I came off my high, and I couldn't wait for the next one, and I went to the next one. And I don't know if it was the 2nd or 3rd year I was there when they had this amazing speaker. And I just knew he was like a disciple of Jesus, because he had so much power, and I was just awestruck. And at the end, they had a question and answer period, and I didn't care. I didn't have a question, but I got in line, because I figured I'd think up one, because I just had to ask him something. And he was putting his hand up, and he was saying, it's done. People were moving water out from under their house. They were cleaning water. They were changing the energy. They were doing all kinds of things that I was not familiar with. And so I thought, there must be something I can ask him. And just as I got ready to ask him, they closed it off, and we had to go down to where they have refreshments. So we all got in line again. And I have had water. I was in a big old house built in 1803. And it had water running underneath the house, so that the sump pump was running all the time. And when it rained, it never stopped. It would fill up, and it was terrible. And I had a feeling that there were underground streams, because it was more than just from the rain coming in. And these old houses don't have a foundation like the newer houses. They have stones. And so the water can come in pretty easy. But it wasn't just then, it was other times too. So my question was, I think maybe I have some water running under my house. And as you all know, that water running under your house is not good, because what it does is it can make you sick. It takes the energy away. And so that you're constantly fighting for energy for your body. At that point, I didn't know how to replenish myself with energy. And I did have some pretty serious health issues. And so I knew something was wrong. And he says to me, you have 2 streams under your house. I'll just move them over here. And I had made a little map of it. And I says, no, you can't move it there. He says, here, you take your map and you figure out where you want it. You see, he wanted to move it in the driveway, and every spring being, a dirt driveway, cars would sink right into it. And if he moved 2 tributaries into the driveway, it would be a problem. We would never get out. So I finally figured out where to move. It should be moved to. And he says, okay. Says his little prayer, and it was done. Me being the skeptic, I went home and I dowsed, and I found out where he had moved it to, and I put sticks all along. It was pretty big. I mean, it was like a river, because there were 2 of them. So I marked them out, and then the first thing we noticed was the sump pump stopped. My first proof, because a lot of dowsers need proof. A lot of people need proof, and there is proof. So first sump pump stopped. And about 3 weeks out, the lawn was getting really long, and my husband says, you got to move those sticks. I said, okay, so I moved to sticks. And then shortly after that, it must have been about 2 weeks, he says, you got to come see this. I said, what's going on? He says, you come. I went out, and all these little mushrooms right where he moved the water was just like a river. All these little mushrooms had come up. There was so much moisture out there. Ta-ta! I knew that it had been done. And when I got calls, because I do dowsing for hire, when I get calls, I would always refer them to someone else. I said, oh, I dowse for your garden. I dowse for health. I don't do water. I mean, I love water, but I don't do water. And I refer him to someone else. And he said, why? Why do you keep, I've had over 10 jobs, and why don't you just do it? And I said, well, I've never done it. I don't know. He says, the next job you get, you take. You get 2 dates and you take it. He was a farmer, and he said he was pretty free. So I went, and he made me do it. And so I found the place, and he said, perfect. It's just great. It was a farm. And within 4 or 5 months, I got another call. Someone else said, I would like you to dowse my water. And I said, well, how did you hear about me? And he says, oh, the farmer up in Antrim called me, and he said you found water, the best water he ever had. So I went up there again, and that's what started my career in water dowsing. I also taught at the National Dowsing Society, basically water dowsing, with this other gentleman who had gone with me that time. And it started to really take off when I was called by an engineer. And if you've worked with engineers, you kind of know that they are skeptical. Everything should be done, you know, a certain way. And these dowsers are woo-woo people. And so I went there, and we're quite professional. My husband marks the spot, and I go and I get there on time, and I explain it to people. And then I ask them to just let me do it and not to talk to me. I don't want to be distracted. It takes focus. So I went out and I found a place. He said, let me show you first where they had drilled 3 times already, 1,300 feet, 1,300 feet, and 1,200 feet, no water. He said, this is where they're going to dowse it next. And it wasn't too far from this little brook. Now, if you know anything about water dowsing, you know that there's water near a brook somewhere, good water. So I went to the place, wasn't too far from the brook, and I said, it's dry. He said, I can't afford another dry hole. We're going to lose the house. We've already spent $70,000 to $80,000. I can't afford to have another dry well. So I put my rods up, and I showed him where the spot would be. And he was so skeptical, he couldn't even call the well person for a couple weeks. And then he finally called him, and he stayed right there while he did it. And he got to 250 feet, and I think it was 285, 290. He said, did you see water? And the well driller said, no. He said, is it even wet? He said, no, it's not. And he was so discouraged, he went back to work. Within a half an hour, the well driller called him, and he said, you had hit mother payload. Lots of water, so much we had to move the truck out. And he got 60 gallons per minute. He says, you're off. And I said about 16. I always go under, but not under that much. And so he got 60 gallons per minute. He said, I'm going to write you a great testimony. And I believe that was my maybe second testimony. I've never asked for them. They just write them. And somehow that testimony got online. And then that's what started me right off. And I was really, really busy after that. And I've done many wells. And I've even moved water and done a lot of things. I've blessed water. Water's in our body. But you know what? I'm going to stop and see if there's questions. Yeah, water is in our body. And we can talk about that. But if there's anything you want to know about dowsing wells, maybe this is the time to ask it. And then we'll go on to talk about health and water in other areas. So that's okay with you?
Yeah, so thank you. Let's just take a breath here, because that was a lot. And we want to an honor that some people here might not even really know about dowsing. And also, you know, coming to a place where we, you know, I think most people know that water, you know, we have a relationship with water, and, you know, unless there's, you know, a flood, we're not thinking about too much water, or even the knowledge of that, well, what do you mean that water running under my house could make me sick? So I think just kind of pulling back here a little bit and taking a breath, also letting you, part of this call is letting everybody introduce themselves and sharing their watersheds, and we can kind of move from there. But just in respect, you know, just maybe just to take a moment and help people to understand what it is, how water can make us sick. And what you're talking about is geopathic stress. And that geopathic stress happens, can create illness in our physicality, because our houses become containers for that. And this might be very, very new to people who are listening. So we'll open up the call, let other people introduce themselves. And if they want to ask a question, maybe we'll just hold the questions for a moment, and just so that we can get a feeling of the whole here and everybody can share, and let's come back to this deeper understanding and a really different type of relationship with water. Actually, water isn't healthy. The way when it runs under a house or under a building can cause a lot of illness, you know, cancer as well. So with that, let's open it up. And of course, I guess if people have a question, feel free to ask. So I pass the crystalline sacred water bottle. And just feel free to grab it and introduce yourself to Carol, and yeah, let's just have some fun here.
I'm not bashful. This is my water bottle. This is a beautiful container. I thought it was fitting to carry it in a fish. Thank you, Carol, for that wonderful message of water. And it's so amazing to be here on this Loving Waters call and deepen our relationship into this aspect of dowsing. So I'm a dowser, but I don't necessarily dowse for water. I live in Maine, not too far from New Hampshire and your home country. And I live at Mount Agamenticus is our watershed. It's a mountain that was an ancient mountain, and the waters flow freely down into these beautiful ponds and lakes that we're really blessed to have. And my water comes from a source that's less than a mile away. And I also live along the York River, which is just a beautiful, well-protected and pristine river. And we intend to keep it that way. So with that, I'm also a member of the Loving Waters Council, and it's just a joy to be here and on this call of Loving Waters with everybody around the world who might be listening to this at some point in time, and invite you to come and join us on Loving Waters or Water First. So please know that you're welcome, and this is just an opportunity tonight to really look at water from a really different perspective, and I'm looking forward to more of it. So with that, I'm complete, and I will send the fish swimming to whoever wants to catch it.
So feel free just to jump in. Oh, Kathleen, are you trying to, I see you. Oh, good. So you just need to unmute yourself. Ah, there she's coming into the light.
Ah, hello everybody. It's so good to see all of you. And Thank you very much for sharing of your story. My name's Kathleen. I live north of Boston in Massachusetts. The Ipswich River is my watershed. And yeah, that's definitely, I'm not a dowser, but I have heard of many different ways and in different countries. I have a friend of mine in Czech Republic who hired a company to come drill a well water for them, and 3 times they drilled and they never got water, so they went literally into the mountains and found some gentleman who they were told was a water dowser, and she said it was quite an experience because they had to bring him out of the mountains, and apparently it's not something he does. He lives in the cabin by himself in the middle of nowhere, and they brought him to where they were, and he doused first time. He got it right, and then he just disappeared and went off on his own, you know. And those are the stories that make you remember. You know, they make you really just remember things that you don't even know you've forgotten, right? Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really have anything else to say except for it's good to see all of you, and I'm looking forward to hearing what everybody else has to say. Now I'm going to figure out the phone because technology isn't my best friend here.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. I'm getting these perks of stories and being taught how to douse water by an elder dowser who cut the branch. You know, those Y branches. Cut a branch off a maple tree, and started to teach me how to douse. And I was yes, absolutely, Carolyn. You can share more. And I was scared. I mean, I've been teaching dowsing all these years, but when he handed me that branch and said, "Find the water," it freaked me out totally. So let's talk also about, that fear that you described, Carol, which, you didn't think you could do it. Because I still kind of have that, because I do more transformational dowsing, although I do look for water and how water is creating stress in someone's body in dousing a house. But yeah, so more fun. Shanti Hart or Jim, you want to jump in?
Sure, I'll take it. Good to see everybody here. Sorry, I was a little bit late. I was on a radio show. Yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania now, so my watershed we're actually the north end of the Chesapeake. So we feed into several rivers here, and then those rivers wend their way into the huge Chesapeake. I'm a water protector. I'll try to turn on the camera while I'm talking. My signal's been a little bit weak, but good to see you all. Yeah, I'm a long-time water protector, long-time believer in the healing values of water. I wouldn't say I'm a dowser at all. I haven't really been taught the way to do that. I usually do more blessings and prayers around the water. So it's good to be here tonight and hear what you're saying and learn a little bit more. Stick in the middle.
I'm Shanti Hart, and I'm currently living in Chicago, and so my watershed is Michigani, which means big lake. So Lake Michigan, that's what I'm near. And it's this new moon is exciting because this is the first, well, the last 4 new moons, you couldn't even get near the lake because it was so frozen unless you had ice pick or ice boots or something, and I'm not that hardy. I didn't go out there. I just kind of looked and went, yeah, not yet. So it's exciting that I can finally get next to the water for my full moon water blessing this month, and I've been doing them indoors for the winter. But so I am on the Loving Waters Council, and I'm a Reiki master teacher, and I'm also a dowser. And Shelley was my teacher. And what I love about hearing about Carol, I'm loving Carol anyway, and loving about hearing the dowsing about water was I doused my friend's farm in Wisconsin, and they had had a flood that came down from a ravine and flooded their property. And I was there in the summer and was going to try to fix it so it didn't happen the next winter. And I just walked up this ravine step by step with my dowsing rods and was like, okay, we're going to move you where you need to go. You can't go by their house. You have to turn at the bottom of this ravine and go around it. And I didn't know that I was moving water. I was moving the path of water anyway. And I used some crystals, and I used some curing rods and a lot of prayers. And I always use, open my Akashic records and use Reiki because to me they're all connected. And Reiki is all about connecting to your true self and your own bright light, and lifting the shade to see your bright light. So I figure that the earth needs Reiki too, and so dowsing with all of that heals things. And well, it's been 2 winters now, and there has been no flooding on the property. So I guess I'll just keep checking in with them from time to time. And so thank you all for joining us on our new moon call, and welcome to Loving Waters. I'm complete.
Thank you. Maya, I know you just got on. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself and what watershed, and Maya's an amazing ceremonialist as well with water. Or do you want to wait? Yep.
Yeah, I just came off of a session with a client, but yes, my name's Maya, and I am in the Santa Barbara coastal watershed. We have a lot of what we call creeks that flow into Grandmother Ocean, and I have for 3.5 years now, have been doing the water ceremony, water blessing on the full moon on the beach. And I collaborate with a Shumash elder here. The 2 of us do ceremony together, and also fire ceremonies. But we've kept this community water ceremony going for 3.5 years. And we're in this area. There's a lot going on with some of the other nonprofits around protecting our waters through trying to put a boundary to the oil companies that want to do fracking in about 5 different places in our county. And so that's a big focus right now for us. And, you know, I love to teach people the connection to water as sacred, and understand that water holds the energy of whatever it comes in contact with, you know, including negative pollution and so forth. So that's a deeper understanding, but we're also in the place of actual political activism too. So kind of I bridge that place between what I call subtle activism with our ceremony and our intention and our prayers and blessings, and also, you know, taking action in the community. So yeah, we just had a beautiful ceremony for World Water Day, which, you know, we usually do it on the full moon, but we shifted it that last month to have it on World Water Day. Oh,
we take a breath.
yeah. I just always feel honored to be on this council and part of this group, and it's always so wonderful to hear from different people. And I'm sorry if I missed a part here. It's just so wonderful to know that all over the world, and that Charlie is keeping our map now so that we can track where people are doing water blessings and doing work for the water all over the world. So It's beautiful to remember in those challenging times when it seems like, things are, decisions are being made politically that are not good for the earth and the waters, to know that there are just as many people working to wake everyone up to protect and guard and nourish our beautiful waters. So.
Thank you, Maya. That's really beautiful. I'm going to unmute you, Carol. So just kind of moving with the waters that are being shared, Carol, just your understanding of that sacred relationship with water, and when you go to work with water, maybe sharing anything that you are your personal steps, because one of the things about this call too is to really offer some kind of practical wisdom, in terms of, so maybe we're not all water dowsers, maybe we're going to be more interested in water dowsing or any kind of dowsing after this call, which is really great. But just like maybe supporting those who are listening in so yes, we can bless the waters, and I know you know about that, and anything you want to share about that as well. We all have some of us here on this call have our dowsing rods with us, and maybe just simply expressing, as a water dowser, how do you approach the land? How do you approach the water? What is significant? What's meaningful? And for some of us who might just be beginning, anything that you want to share around that, and we'll open it up as well for questions to Carol about water. And think about it, water dowsing, but another name for that is a water diviner. So maybe you can share a little bit about that as well. And then this is an open call for participation. Feel free to come on when you feel inspired to ask any questions or share any stories that you have. Thank you.
I feel that you can talk to anything. I know there are horse whispers, there are dog whispers, and everything has energy, wavelength, and consciousness. And if so, then our consciousness can communicate with any other consciousness. And that being so, through dowsing, we can even speak to water. And if we can speak to electricity, and we can ask the electricity to bring in its EMFs to maybe it's out 30 feet from a pole that's where your energy box is on your house. If you can pull that into 3 feet or 3 inches, then certainly we can talk to water. And Emoto proved that. And so when you hold your water and you talk to it, and you love it and respect it, like Charlie had just talked to us earlier, then you change the crystalline structure of it. And first of all, back up a little bit. Our body is made up of chemicals. It has magnetic. It has vibration. But most of all, it is a water body. If about 98% of our water in our body our body is made up of, then we should be talking to our body, shouldn't we? We should be talking to the water in our body. And I found a beautiful symbol. If you can see this, it's a very powerful, I got it upside down. Well, there's writing on the back, but, and I had these made up because this is a very beautiful crystal. It's very powerful. And so I put it underneath my water bottle. And then my water bottle's outside somewhere right now. and I set it on magnets. And then I put my hands around the bottle and I talk to it. I love you. I respect you. Thank you. Thank you. It responds to really appreciation, respect. And I let it sit in the sunlight and the moonlight to get all the energies. And then I used to just drink it, but now I realize when we dump it into another jar, just a little bit, then it will affect all the rest of the water. I was at a conference and they were selling these little bottles for about $40 of water, energized water. So I said to the person that had the booth, I said, oh, can't we just do it ourselves using magnetics and crystals and talking to it? She says, shh, 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 don't tell anybody. That's all we do. Don't tell anybody or I won't be able to make any money. And of course, most of us dowsers give an awful lot of information away free because we love the earth and we love each other and we respect and see everyone as though God sees them. And so I always share my information and tell people, energize your water. Sometimes I forget, and I know we all do that, but let's try to remember. So I just thought I'd add that a little bit. We can communicate with water in a better way than through our dowser to get answers back from the water.
Feel free to jump. I love that, and what Carol was bringing up was a pendulum, and that's another dowsing tool as well. Really beautiful, thank you. And I know for me, it's listening to you takes me into a softer place, like a softening in respect to this relationship with water. And I loved how you said water is energy. What did you say? Waves. You can take and how did you say that?
I was saying our body is magnetic. It's electrical. It's electrical, and it's 98% water. And so, all these things, knowing that we should use these things, the magnetics, the lengths, the words, and use that into energizing our water. But I really feel I need to do more work with actually communicating with water through my dowser. I communicate with the trees. I communicate with so many things. I haven't done enough of it with water. And I think that we could get more feedback from water if we would think of doing that. It might be a challenge for some of us to talk to the waters in your area. Perhaps you get some feedback as to how we as humans could do something to help it. I don't know. We're doing things all the time, but maybe water would have other things for us to do. I don't know about you, but I, for a while, used ionized stones, and I used to go out and hold the stones and love this ionized stone. And then I would throw it in the river to ionize all the water that was rushing over it. And that's one way to help the water. But you all know so many, many ways of loving the water. But perhaps if we challenge ourselves and really try to communicate one way or another with the water more, we could learn a lot more about it. Instead of summing it up and doing whatever we think that we can do, and maybe not so good, as we've known through history that we have done some really damaging things with water. For instance, in Florida, they built Route 41 right across the Everglades. And what that did is it stopped the water from flowing into the Everglades, so the Everglades are drying up. And now it's going to take multi-millions of dollars to raise 41, which they could have done before, so that the water can flow underneath it. Before we lose the Everglades, we've already lost a lot of it. And we need to do that ASAP. We do things we don't even think about. So I just challenge you all to try to communicate, learn to dowse, and try to communicate more with everything around you.
So Carol, just for the sake of people who might not use a pendulum, like why don't you show, like give an example of, you're holding up the pendulum. So give an
Which
example.
is easier to see? Is this one easier to see?
They're both easy.
All right. Okay. As long as you can see what I'm doing. Okay, the first thing you need to do is to know how to dowse. And for some of you people who don't know, it's very simple. But your higher consciousness does not know how to dowse, neither does your mind. And your mind will never know how to dowse. But your higher consciousness, if you ask it, will learn very fast. So when you pick up a pendulum and you just get it swinging, and then you go to your higher consciousness and you ask, show me what my swing would be like for a yes. And mine used to go in a circle like this. And then what would be my no? And it would take quite a while for it to stop from doing this, and then stop and swing, and then finally go into a no. I have found that if I program my higher consciousness to, I want yes to be fast, and so because I have a lot of work to do, and if it takes me a whole minute to go from yes to no, or even 30 seconds, if I program it, show me my yes, and I'm not doing this, I'm letting my higher consciousness do this right now. All right, show me my yes, very fast, 1 second. All right, show me my no, 1 second. See how long it takes the other way? I'll just do it once. All right, show me my yes, my old way, please. 3 seconds. All right, now show me my no. That was about 5 seconds, 4 or 5. Because it has to stop and swing and then go the other way. And what is it that's making it actually do this? It's your own body. When you decide you're going to sweep the floor, you pick up a broom in your consciousness, you're saying, I need to sweep the floor. And you sweep the floor. And that broom is a tool. It's just a tool. So this is nothing more than a tool. That's all it is. It's your higher consciousness that's connected to all there is, that's asking the question of all there is, and we are connected to all there is through our layers of auras. We're connected to all there is. Every in the universe we can get. That's what's so amazing. So we go to our higher consciousness, and that's where we dowse from. Your mind can't. If you think that the answer is, if you think you have a cold and you say, do I have a cold? Oh yeah, it's going to go right to a cold because you think it. If you don't know what's the matter with you and you say, do I have a cold, and you have no idea, it might go yes and it might go no. This might be the flu, or this might be something you ate, you see. So you cannot think and doubt. You have to be able to let your mind be free. Go to your higher consciousness, ask the question, and then you get a yes or no. And that's all you can get is a yes or no. So how you're dowsing, the most important thing you ever know is, how do I ask the right question? So that I can get a yes or no and talk to anything. Can I talk to water? Higher consciousness, well, it's not going to respond until I tune into some water. All right, higher consciousness. I'm tuning into the water. Can I talk to the water? Oh, yes. You can do that with electricity, with your dog, with your husband when he's not there, so that you know what you did that irritated him. You can talk to anything. So a quick lesson on.
Thank you. So let's open it up, and also let's think in terms of working as a collective, and how, like, practically we can work as a collective as well, and work with waters that we're not even standing right next to. I mean, just to understand that there's that capacity as well. So I open up to Charlie, Shanti Hart, or Kathleen, Jim, anyone who wants to bring in what's moving in them in terms of, and even now there's so much going on around water. I mean, even the places that have drought all of a sudden are flooding. The places that have been dry, have been flooding or dry, and I mean the weather, we know the climate is shifting, and you know, even taking it into practical terms in our experiences, you know, we're here tonight to really feel into the true meaning of our relationship with water, and our love, as well as I know many of us here are very involved with different aspects of water. So just open it up to the collective, and also questions that you have about water dowsing and how that can support you in your local area as well. And many of us here are involved with what's called the Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing Consortium. And we have spent, since 2015, we have spent years working together as a collective and focusing on rivers and waters and different areas of the country. And when we do, we find that there's incredible possibilities. Even think about going back and tapping into the original name of that river and speaking to, as Carol's talking about speaking, that's what I was thinking about, calling back, singing back to the water. Its original name, its original vibration, honoring that, calling in that vibration. So let's see where we go with this.
You know, I was thinking today, did a radio show earlier. We had a lot of young people from around the globe on, who are all involved in the climate change actions and the movements. And so as we were talking, especially while we were on break between the halves of the show, water came up several times because many of them were also water protectors. You know, water is, well, to me, that the elephant in the middle of the room is climate change, which, you know, you're talking about. The extremes that are happening now are just beyond anyone's imagination, and they're getting worse, it seems, by the minute. Well, the number one indicator to me of the health or disease of our planet is water. And so as the water gets unhealthier, so too the climate change ramps up. And conversely, as we can help to heal the water, the climate starts to moderate. So I think we need to work from both ends. We have to keep working, those of us who have worked hard with water blessings and water clearings and all the other things we do, dowsing, and then also be working on climate change so the two of them can improve and not continue to worsen to the point where we'll be the last man standing here. Anyway, that was just coming to me today, that direct connection and that number one indicator of health or disease is water. I'm complete.
I think that's so true, Jim. And one of the ladies that's on our Loving Waters Council is a tree sister, very involved with the trees. And we've talked on many calls of how the trees and the water, of course, the trees are such a reflection of the water. And I loved the story about that. As the new moon comes, then the roots start pushing water up, so that by the time the moon is full, the tree trunk and the branches are full of water. And so the trees love the moon cycles just as much as we do, and they utilize it for their health. And so I think that all of this is true, every aspect of it, the climate change and everything. And I think we should all just be called by our heart, like some people are just very focused on clearing the pollution out of the oceans and scooping up that icky stuff that all the fish are eating. And thank God Maya's out there fighting the frackers and, no, not here, and we're like, with your laser beam of truth, you're like, stop. And so whatever you're called to do to honor the planet, and the Emoto blessing for water goes to the Mother Earth too. Gaia, we love you. Gaia, we respect you. Gaia, we thank you. And we are you. And then in this day and age, it's always good to add the Ho'oponopono blessing, because there's a lot of that needed. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And so whatever little bit that each person can do, or they're called to do, it's all helping. And I'm thrilled to hear that you had all those young people, those millennials that people say bad things about. I think they're awesome, and they're here to, especially the new babies, the star beings, that they're coming in, they've kept their memories, they don't have the karma, and they're ready to just, and they're not going to have to wait till they're young adults. I mean, they're already like 14, 15. They're out there advocating, fighting, filing lawsuits against U.S. government, and it's like, look at those kids from Parkland. So age is not a barometer either. So I have a lot of hope for all of us. I think we chose to be here because we're going to help save her and us and the 7 generations. I'm complete. I know that was long, as always.
Can I just do a quick follow-up to that? Because you had so many really pieces there that are important. The young people I had on today, we also had a couple parents because we were curious how they felt about what their kids were doing. One of the young boys is 11 years old. He's one of the leaders in Australia. The other one is Elle. Elle is 13. She's one of the leaders who stepped up in the beginning with Greta Thunberg. So these kids are 11, 12, 13. They speak like adults. Matter of fact, we had a grandmother on from Pine Ridge during the show, and she even said, "You may be young, but you're all elders." It is amazing what these young ones have brought in this time with them. So I'm glad you mentioned that. It's important.
As Shelley mentioned in the beginning about the collective, this is the collective that we're witnessing. And this is an amazing process. And I know in my own journey, I can't tell you which came first. Well, I do know what came first. The water came first and then the dowsing. But I wasn't as active in the water until I started dowsing, and that deepened my relationship with it. And it's really interesting because I met Jim at a retreat where we were going to learn a water blessing, and how that's brought me to this place here on Loving Waters. And I'm actually going to start doing public ceremonies, which I've not done because, as Carol said about the fear of dowsing for water, it was my fear of, how do I say this? There's so many people who can do this better than I can, or who am I? I'm not an elder. I don't have Indigenous background. This is the collective. This is what the water is calling each of us to do. And so it's amazing that Carol's here talking about the dowsing, because this is what is needed. It's needed for people to dowse the water. It's needed for people to talk the water. It's needed for people to speak to the water. And most of all, it's for us to listen to the water. So learning to listen to the water is really perhaps the strangest part. But I can assure you that if you go and sit next to a stream, or you sit anywhere where there's flowing water, whether it's a beach or an ocean, you will start to learn and just be still. As Carol said, go into that higher dimension of it. You will learn how to listen to the water, and because we are water, and we can't escape. And it's amazing how, when you look, as Jim talked about, the climate change, what is it all about? It's all about water. If there's no water, there's fire. The winds blow the water. The water drowns the land. It's all about water. And it's just been driven down out of the minds of humans to make it look like it's a commodity. And this is my issue, is we have got to remind people to deepen their relationship with the water and realize that it's not a commodity. It is life. The statement is so simple, it's profound in its simplest. No water, no life. And so I know I'm preaching to the crowd. And I'm not going to go into a sermon, because I have people tell me I do sermons. But it's just so, this is the collective. This is the collective. And so these young children, 11 years old, they're coming in awake. They're coming in understanding that, and it's not been taken away from them. And so we, as elder persons in society, this is where we stand up and share our teachings of dowsing, of water whispering. I think I wrote that down. So water whisperers. Yeah, I love that. And it's important for anyone who's listening to this call to really ask yourself, where does water play in my life? Don't make it work. If it's work, you won't do it. Where does water play in my life? And go out and play with the water and develop that relationship. So with that, I am complete. I love you all.
Charlie, I could listen to your preaching all day. I love it. You always never fail to inspire me. And and everything everyone has said. Carol, you spoke about what we should ask the water, what to do. Ask the water for ways to help. And, in talking of listening to water, that's actually how it started for me. Most of the people on this call maybe know something about my story, that back in 1987, one summer, I was up in the backcountry in the Santa Barbara, here up in the mountains. And I had an experience of sitting by this river, creek, body of water, and it started to speak to me. That was how I learned that water was intelligent. I saw into it, saw its spiral shapes, and it started to talk to me and gave me a very full download. And it was through the heart. I was weeping with the feeling of incredible unconditional love. And I was blessed with being given the water helped me to totally trust that it was speaking truth to me, because it gave me a whole download of scientific information about how endogenous viruses participate in the evolutionary process. And I wrote it all down. And 10 years later, there was an article in Science magazine that scientists had just discovered this and all about endogenous viruses. And I was like, oh, the water told me that 10 years ago. So I was like a believer. I'm like, okay. And it also at that time asked me to become in service of the water, to be a follower of the water. And I didn't know quite what that meant. But as I moved along and as I came upon Dr. Emoto's work, things started to unfold to show me how I can be in service to the water. And it's led to being on this council and doing my water ceremonies. But I've come to believe that my intuition is the water speaking, that anytime I'm having intuition or ask for guidance and go in, that sort of when I call my higher self is really the water speaking to me. And I've come to trust that more and more. And so I continue to talk to the water and bless it and bring it love. And and I just, yeah, listening more for like specifics about like how, ask the water, how can we protect against fracking? Maybe the water will give us some, you know, some ideas. And so thanks for that, Carol. That very, asking for something very specific is beautiful. And I also think certainly Dr. Emoto showed it, the different indigenous peoples, you know, surrounding a body of water together and, you know, chanting, singing, sending our love. It's been shown that we can purify, return to the crystalline structure of water. And you said, Shelley, we don't even have to be there. This is what we can do. People like David Nichol, who are doing the light web with everybody focusing on one particular area of the earth or one problem area, that we all can choose bodies of water that are challenged. And, you know, hopefully that's something we can do more of as Loving Waters, is guide people to create more collectives, to focus collective, because when just one of us does it, it's powerful, but when we come together in that collective, it's magnified. And, you know, I always hold both. I will always do both. I want to take the actions. I want to sign the petitions, vote, go out there and stand in protection. But we can know that it's so powerful to do this collective focusing of our coherent, beautiful love, structured love to the water. So I'm asking for ways that I can help teach people that, or connect. You know, that's certainly our goal here, is to connect with more and have all the different little pods around the earth, and maybe, you know, choosing times where we all focus together. Well, certainly with the moon is one way that organizes us into time. So I just I'll constantly come back to being renewed in my faith that together with the water, we can do this. I'm complete.
I just wanted to mention something else that, Shelley, you were talking about collective, and you're all talking about the collective group or consciousness. And what can we do during these earth changes? And it doesn't matter where they're coming from. Some think it's Nibiru, some think it's pollution. They're all different theories of why it's happening. Some people feel it's our consciousness, that we have been mean to the earth, and if we were a little better, then it would stop. But I just wanted to share something with you. Every time there's a storm coming through Florida, and this has been since I've lived in Florida, a few of us have been working on these storms. Now, I used to send them to an area, because you've got the highs and the lows. You can push up the lows and you can send it to a different area, perhaps an area that is not as populated. And then one day I sat down in my meditation and I thought, who am I to push this somewhere where it might hurt something else? We don't want it here, so let's push it up somewhere where there's less people. But there are people, and there are animals, there are plants. And so I was meditating one day, and I thought, you know, when you have an angry person, do you try to push them somewhere? What do you do when somebody is angry, and the earth is angry right now? I see that as an anger of energy that builds and then starts to move and blow. And so if it's an angry thing, then how do you handle it? And it was like in a flash. You don't send it anywhere. You sit and you send love to the center of this thing. And you say, you are loved, you are blessed, you are trying to clean the earth of pollution by blowing it away, and you are hurting people in the process. And just talking to it and sending it love. And when I got that, I thought, oh my God. So I started calling all the dowsers that I knew. And since I was connected to ASD, I knew a lot of dowsers, and I was sending the word out. And some of them already had gotten it. They were doing the same thing. So when Emma, I guess it was the last one, came up through Florida, was supposed to come up through the whole state, and most of the state evacuated. We're sitting up in Pennsylvania because we're on our way back here. That's when we were moving. We stayed in Pennsylvania. And I just meditating, seeing it calm down, calm down, calm down, and it's going to go here, and then it's going to go there. Perhaps people were sending it out of their area, like I used to. Who knows? But by sending it love into the center and just calming it, what did it do? It calmed down. It went from 120 to 100 to 80 to 60 to 40 to 20. Remember, it just blew out and it stopped being a danger. And so I felt, the collective is important. If we can all work on these issues that come upon our planet and our big problem collectively and just calm the fears of it's energy, it's consciousness. Calm the energy down. Love it. Perhaps that's a key to working together, to taking care of some of these awful storms. And we can do it anywhere in the world. We don't have to do it in the United States. So they've had problems everywhere. So I just wanted to throw that out to you all, that maybe that's something the consortium can work on and others to help the planet with these changes that we're all seeing. I'm done.
Oh, I think we can all take a breath with that one. So let's just take a moment and really embrace, as Carol was saying, embrace the waters that are in the air that are surrounding us, the waters in our body, the absolute living organism, this living, fluctuating movement of cells and atoms, electrons, all being infused with light. And just maybe in this call, just take a moment and just focus on a place of water that's calling to you. And something that I was remembering was, for me, water came to me in my dreams. And I had this dream of tons of water, and I woke up going, why water? Why water? Why water? And it's led me to this place of actually working on a movie. It led me to Loving Waters. It led me to Water Blessings, things I had never done in my life. And so just envisioning this body of water, the stream, wherever you are, that's calling to you, or that has been part of your lineage, your history. Maybe you went to this place when you were younger. Just coming back to that place of innocence and love and listening, like has been said tonight. If anything, you take anything from this, it's listening to the water, sitting down someplace, or even just getting a glass of water, becoming more aware, conscious, and loving. And within that, this is really interesting. This is Golden Rule Day, if anyone has been on Facebook. But Golden Rule Day is really about honoring and respecting another, treating others as you would like to be treated. And so when we think in terms of water, we're recognizing that in another person as well. It's their waters. Their voice is their water expressing itself, right? Just taking a moment to really, maybe now just what's coming in is just in picturing someone who maybe you've had a challenge with, and just as Shanti Hart was saying, that ho'onoponopono, that prayer of forgiveness. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I thank you. And just playing with that as we move out from this call. And just taking a moment to thank that water that's in your life. And collectively now expand our awareness to the fullness of the planet. Seeing this blue being, whole, functioning, vibrationally high, our source water coming from the mountains are pure and clear. And we're connecting with so many other water stewards, water protectors, water guardians, all the same thing, water custodians of this planet. And that we all are water whisperers has been brought in tonight. Taking a breath and just coming forward in this moment to this call, and just wanting everyone to know how to get a hold of us. So you can go to lovingwaters.life, as Carly was saying. You can come see us and be a part of our community on Loving Waters Facebook page. And Water First, which we'll speak to, you can go to lovingwaters.life and you're going to find this beautiful pledge that has been created this year just for you and your community, just for you and your family, however you want to use it. Together, we love, honor, and celebrate what is most sacred. In gratitude for the source of life itself, our living water and beloved Mother Earth. So if you have any questions, you can write us at connect@lovingwaters.life. If you'd like to learn more about dowsing and water dowsing, Carol will let us know how to get a hold of her. You can go to, we do have a consortium where we're working with all different kinds of alchemical tools and dowsing and doing planetary healing. You can join us at that. But basically, you can go to Connect at Loving Waters, attention Shelley or attention Charlie, attention Maya, attention Shanti Hart, and more of our council members. And we'll be happy to respond to you and support you in meeting others in your area as well. As we do, we are growing that map thanks to Charlie. And yeah, we're happy. And you can download a brochure which really can give you the most simplest method, Dr. Emoto's method of really shifting the structure of water. And you can learn more about that by going to lovingwaters.life. So with that, Carol, why don't you just share with people how to get in touch, whoops, you have to unmute, how to get in touch with you. And then we'll close tonight's call with reading the pledge. And if you have the pledge, you can take it out. And I'm going to invite everyone to stay on mute, because otherwise it becomes kind of crazy, the sound. But Carol, why don't you share how to get a hold of you?
You can reach me on my email, carol@healthierlives.net, HEALTHERLIVES.net. And if you go to my website, it's the same thing, www.healthierlives.net. And you can click dowsing and you can contact me through that. Also have a page on Reiki and my wellness business. I have a wellness business. Don't click the dowsing because it's down and I need to do something else with that. Maybe I'll have a link to you, Shelley, or something.
Okay, yeah, we can set that up. So you can go to goldenlightdowsing.com if you want to learn more specifically about dowsing.
But I can't work on my own website. I have to have my computer guy do it.
Okay, great. So let's close. I want to say one more thing. Carol was talking about the Dowsing Convention, and this year it's in like the third week of June, towards the end of June in Plymouth, New Hampshire. And many of us are going to be there, Charlie and myself, and hopefully, who knows, maybe Shanti Hart will join us, I don't know. But please come and you'll learn tons about water dowsing if you want to come and meet some pretty fabulous people like us. So anyway, let's close with reading the pledge. And Shanti Hart, do you have the pledge there? Busted. All right. No, it's okay.
It's very close. I could get it in 30 seconds.
Why don't you read it and end our call?
Right, let me go get it then.
Okay, we're just going to breathe.
Right here.
So I just want to thank everyone for showing up, and for those that are going to be watching this replay, you can see that we are a playful group and at the same time practical, and each one of us on the Loving Waters Council has a gift. Jim has radio shows, he's on Facebook, and you can, if you just go to lovingwaters.life, you can meet the council stewards. Maya's, like she said, is doing water blessings in Santa Barbara, and really use us for learning how that you can do something in your community. All right, I'm going to put myself on mute, and we'll end with Shanti Hart and all of us reading our own pledges. And don't forget, this is a downloadable pledge. You can go right to the website and download it for yourself.
I pledge to put water first in my life, to respect, appreciate, and cherish water as the sacred source of all life and a primary intelligence of the earth. Knowing that 99% of the molecules in my body are water, I pledge to nourish my own inner water by choosing healthy thoughts, words, emotions, and actions. Joining with others, I pledge to protect, restore, and sustain the integrity of my local watershed, understanding it is deeply interconnected with all other water on the planet. I pledge to share my love of water with my family and community, to continue educating myself and others in ways to ensure the purity and vitality of water for future generations. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much, everyone. Carol, this has been really beautiful, and I have an idea about sending this out tomorrow. So if you want to stay on for a moment, I'll share that. But thank you, everyone. Come see us at lovingwaters.life, and we're here on the new moon, and join us for water blessings on the full moon, and stay in touch with us, because many of the Water Council and Water Stewards are engaging in amazing actions in the world, sacred activism for the water. So bless you, and see you next new moon.